Thank you. And thank you for joining us for KARE 11 News at Noon. You know, we're actually covering a lot of developing stories this afternoon, including the aftermath of Target's decision to roll back its DEI programs, plus updates from the state capitol after a week of back and forth and boycotts. But first, we got to talk about the weather with Jamie. It's nice out. I mean,
it's
some
not
flurries,
bad.
but
yeah, there's always a trade-off. You have the
Yeah.
clouds is going to keep the temperatures a little milder, especially
Right.
into those overnight hours with that blanket of cloud cover. But yeah, we could use some sunshine to brighten things up. There's a look at the satellite, the radar right now. And yeah, there's some flurries out there coming in with the cold front that kind of clips the area. This is not going to be one of those cold fronts where we all feel the temperatures just tumble. This is going to affect more of the Arrowhead region than anywhere else, but we do get the flurries from it. As you can see, though, visibilities are just fine right now, so these are not going to be heavy snow showers and road conditions. There's a quick look at it. You can see there is a lot of green on the map there, and I checked some of the MnDOT cams, and they look okay. You might find a little bit of snow kind of covering the pavement at a parking lot, but the roads are looking just fine right now. But yeah, a lot of gray out there. 32 degrees, feels like 23. You got a west wind still at 13 miles an hour, but that west wind is what's bringing in this milder air for us. And look what it does with the temperatures over the next 8 hours. The temperatures don't move much. Not a lot of sunshine either, but again, we're not seeing these temperatures tumble because this cold front is coming by. We'll kind of break that down, take a deeper dive into some of these temperature swings coming up in a few minutes.
all right, sounds good. Thanks for that, Jamie. Our top story at noon, Minnesota House Republicans plan to return to the chamber at 3:30 p.m. today, but whether the DFL will join them is an open question. The two sides negotiated over the weekend, but there's still no resolution. But because of the order made by the state Supreme Court, the GOP will have to adjourn immediately if no Democrats show. On Friday, the bench ruled the GOP didn't have a quorum with 67 members. So all the work they've done so far is invalid. The DFL boycott started when the GOP tried to capitalize on their temporary majority by electing a speaker and forming committees before an upcoming special election. Now, that race will fill the last vacant seat and could tie the House. Moving forward hinges on how well the two parties can share power. Political experts say those negotiations could have a ripple effect on the rest of the session.
I think it's going to be acrimonious. I think it's going to have plenty of meltdowns. And even now, I think the idea of a special session in June is not out of the question.
Per the Supreme Court decision, all committee meetings have also been canceled today. Now, one of our other top headlines, President Trump's immigration crackdown is ramping up. In just the last 24 hours, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement announced they made nearly 1,000 arrests and detained more than 500 people, most of them happening in Metro Atlanta, Austin, LA, and Chicago. The new policy has led to international tension after Colombia originally refused to accept deported immigrants. The Trump administration responded with tariff threats, but has since backed off. Michelle Beck explains how the countries reached an agreement.
Colombia has backed down and agreed to the demands of the Trump White House. Overnight, Colombia's president said yes, he'll accept deported migrants back to their home country. This comes after a weekend of back and forths with threats of tariffs coming from both sides. Colombia's president initially blocked 2 U.S. military planes carrying migrants, saying a migrant is not a criminal and should be treated with the dignity a human being deserves. Well, look here at the retaliatory measures Trump then ordered. At the top of his list, emergency 25% tariffs that would go up to 50% in a week. Colombia fired back with their own version of a tariff increase. When Colombian officials agreed to receive the deportees, they said they would guarantee them, quote, decent conditions as citizens subject to rights. Back to you.
Thanks to Michelle for that breakdown. And take a look at this incredible new video into our newsroom. Shows the moment tens of thousands of Palestinians returned to northern Gaza. It comes after Israeli forces withdrew from the area after Hamas agreed to release 3 hostages later this week. The return was originally delayed this weekend when Israel says Hamas was supposed to release those hostages. As you can see, most of the buildings in the area have been damaged or completely leveled. About 650,000 had to evacuate the area during the war. We'll have more on the ceasefire deal in about 30 minutes. Well, new at noon, just a few hours ago, an earthquake strikes New England with shaking felt from Boston to Maine. It was a magnitude 3.8 earthquake. Now, while it wasn't destructive, that's pretty large and rare for the area. The National Weather Service hasn't issued any tsunami watches, warnings, or advisories in the aftermath, and there have been no reports of fatalities or significant damage so far. Over to California now. The Hughes, Eaton, and Palisades fires are all more than 90% contained, but right now flood warnings are in place. The threat is in effect through this afternoon. Some debris has run off into roadways in the Los Angeles area, and some National Guardsmen are turning their focus to digging ditches for floodwaters and sandbagging homes. Forecasters say the rain should be generally beneficial for firefighters. A 10-person crew of Minnesota DNR firefighters is on the front lines of the wildfire fight in Southern California. As you can see, the group left here on Friday. Well, we're seeing backlash grow after Minnesota-based Target, the retailer, announced it would end its diversity, equity, and inclusion program. In a memo to employees, Target announced it's ending its 3-year DEI goals, including a program focused on carrying more products from Black and minority-owned businesses. The decision comes days after President Trump signed an executive order ending DEI programs across federal agencies. A University of Minnesota marketing professor says he's not surprised to see large companies act swiftly as the political winds shift.
They have to make money, and it's a brutally competitive business, and it's best to keep everybody on your side as much as possible.
On the heels of Target's announcement, Twin Cities Pride confirmed the company will not have a presence at this year's festival or parade. Target was a longtime sponsor, too. The executive director of Twin Cities Pride described the move away from DEI as incredibly disappointing.
If you're an ally and you aren't a fan of what they've done, then you make that best decision for you and your family. But unfortunately, I need to stand by my community, and we just had to say, you know, not this year, but we'll continue to work with Target and hopefully get them on the right track.
Walmart, McDonald's, and John Deere are also among the brands backing away from DEI efforts. Meanwhile, Costco and Apple say they're standing by their policies. Well, if you're planning an afternoon trip to Starbucks, some changes are starting today. Now, one of the biggest is the chain won't let people hang out or use their restrooms anymore without making a purchase. It's also changing its name to Starbucks Coffee Company. And some changes made during the pandemic will be reversed. Milk and sweetener stations are back, and baristas will now handwrite your names on the cups again. The company's CEO says it's all an effort to bring back a coffee house vibe. Well, now to sports.